Hey golfers, I'm Drew Mahowald, the Second Swing Golf, out here on the golf course with Brady Falk, online fitter for Second Swing. We've got some wedges, Brady. We're gonna hit a few shots. We're gonna we'll get your feedback on how these things perform. So this is the Mizuno Pros, the T1 and T3. So you got the blue ion finish, which is this is really cool from Mizuno. So talk to me about just what you see looking at that wedge shape-wise, and then also I need some feedback on that finish.
Yeah, I mean, this is classy, very unique. There's not any other wedge out there that's blue, so it definitely stands out. But I really like the way that the face is not blue. It kind of squares the ball nicely.
And then with these as well, Brady, is like there's two models here that we can talk about. So you have the T1, which is sort of their traditional blade style. So, you know, obviously there's no cavity in there, which is kind of the traditional style of wedge for decades and decades.
Yeah.
The T3 now in my hand here, as you can see, there's a little bit of a cavity back there, which is, the idea is a little bit more weighting on the perimeter, some more forgiveness. So I guess I'll give this to you. I want to get your feedback, and if you see a size difference initially looking at that one compared to what you just saw, does it seem a little bigger or seem a little different shaped, or is it pretty close to the same
Yeah,
thing?
it's pretty close, but you can tell that it is a little bit larger profile, and it looks a little bit more confidence inspiring. The T1s are very compact.
Right.
So those are, like you said, the traditional blade style wedge. And then these are gonna flow a little bit better with like the popular JPX 925 hot metals.
Yes.
Players that are playing those category of wedges that are a little bit bigger, this wedge would flow a little bit nicer with irons like that.
That's true. And of course with Mizuno, grain flow forging process, that their irons of course are more famous, so to speak, but that's also how these are designed, so they're gonna get really soft feel. The copper underlay is still there with these. So what we're gonna do, a few different shots I'll test you with. We got our first one right here. Sort of a mid-range pitch shot, which is, you need some performance in your wedge for this shot. So talk me through this one and what you're going to be expecting. We're actually going to have you hit a T3 and a T1. So talk to me about what you're going to expect to see and what you want out of your wedge with this shot.
Yeah, so it looks like a pretty straightforward shot, pretty level fairway lie, and then we got some decent green to work with there. So I'm going to want to try to control the trajectory. There's a little bit of wind that we're into today. So I'm going to try to want to keep it down off of that to try to be as consistent as possible and not let the wind take it away.
Sure, yeah. Well, so the interesting nugget that I'm going to test you with as well is that one, the T3, is a 56 degree with the M grind, and then these are also higher lofted. So we've got a 58 with the V grind for this blue one that you were looking at. So a little bit different there, but good players adapt, and with these wedges you can do that, right? So we're going to put that to the test here.
Perfect.
All right, let's see the shot number one here.
Okay.
T3. So this is the more, quote unquote forgiving wedge.
The more forgiving one, yep. It looks like about 55, maybe 60 yards here. So we're gonna try to hit a little low flighted wedge shot in there.
Oh yeah. Carried a little bit on you.
Deep, yeah.
Let's talk to me about that one. How was the contact? How did it feel?
Yeah, well, I caught that one a little thick, so I want to hit another one or two here to kind of get the feel. But the one thing that I did notice is I hit behind the ball, and I wasn't punished by it. It was on the right line, just a little deep, and it looks like it stayed about on the fringe there. So it wasn't my best swing, and I wasn't punished greatly.
Yeah, I didn't want to make a comment. I thought I noticed it was a little fat, but I didn't want to, I didn't want to call it out unless you called it out. So, but yeah, well, it seemed that way, and you definitely are still very much in play there. You can still even make. I mean, you're on the fringe, so it's definitely.
And that's how we have wedges like the T3. Yeah. So when you don't put your best swing on it, like we don't every single time. Right. So that's exactly what it's for.
Ooh. Oh yeah, there's some hop and stop there.
So the ball off the face on that feels so soft. Yeah. I personally don't play Mizuno wedges, so mine aren't forged, and these are one of the only forged wedges out there. There's a difference. Yeah. You can really tell how soft that feel is.
Yeah, it also sounds a little bit more muted too.
Yeah.
So there's probably that element. If you are a player that sometimes if you either mishit it or even sometimes with some of these wedges right on the center of the face, it can sound clicky almost.
Yeah.
Whereas that certainly was not, it was the opposite of clicky, whatever sound you want to use or word you want to use to describe that sound. But that was good. All right, let's get one more to T3, and then I'm going to give you the T1 here.
Okay, sounds good.
There you go. Yeah, actually, that one, now it's a 56 degree. That's flying nicely through this wind and actually almost carrying a little further maybe. It's kind of almost piercing through with that kind of lower trajectory.
Yeah, I did carry them all a little bit further, but I do like the way it comes off the face. It feels really smooth, and it was the ball flight that I was looking for. So I didn't hit all those perfect, but I really like the performance of that T3.
So I'll give you this one then. We'll go to the T1. So talk to me, we've mentioned it already, but like how much, now after hitting the T3, how much smaller does that look?
Yeah, I mean, there's a big difference here. And I think that the color might have something to do with it too.
Yeah.
The darker finish kind of makes it look even smaller than something like the light satin color.
Sure.
But I really do like the way that the face itself isn't colored, so it squares up really, really nicely on the ball. So we're going to try to hit a similar shot. This is a higher lofted wedge, so we're going to try to keep it down. It might spin a little bit more for us.
Oh yeah. Again, that's still kind of piercing right through the wind there, you know.
Let's try another one here.
There's a good one right there. Look at that. Greens are firm today too.
Yeah, they really are. Yeah, I just can't get over the feel of these. How
does it feel any different than the T3, or is that? I mean, I wouldn't imagine they're very different.
No, the feel between the two did feel pretty much the same.
Okay.
It's
just a little bigger.
It's pretty cool because it is a forgiving wedge. It's a small cavity back wedge, but it still feels like a soft premium, tour shape wedge, even though it has a little bit more forgiveness in it. So it's a pretty cool feature.
Here, I'll give you one more. After all, we're gonna make it in the hole, and we're gonna go nuts. That was clipped pretty good. Oh yeah, there's some bite on that one. Well, not in the hole, but pretty close.
We'll take it.
All right, we're gonna go now closer to the hole, and these kind of careful, maybe shots we need to finesse it a little bit. We're gonna see how the Mizuno Pro T1 and T3 hold up.
Let's do it.
All right, so this next shot here, it's pretty basic. I mean, I'm not gonna play too many tricks on you, but just a straightforward shot from the rough.
Yeah.
But I think what I want to do is just see how these wedges, both the T1 and T3, kind of cut through the grass, cut through some debris, and then give you the performance you need. So talk to me about this shot here. I'll give you a nice, not easy lie, but not super tough lie here.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so I mean, we got plenty of green to work with. We probably don't need the highest lofted wedge, but it is a downhill slope again, so we're gonna want to have something that we're able to control the spin on and make sure that doesn't roll out and get away from us.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I mean, again, there's plenty of green to work with here, so nothing crazy, but you still need to rely on your wedges for this one.
Yep.
Oh yeah,
that
nice
feels so good.
Wow, you made that look pretty easy. So now in this shot, now granted, you mentioned that that's maybe higher lofted than you might play, but would you typically go something lower lofted with this shot?
Yeah, maybe a 56, but after hitting that first one, I really like the way that the ball reacted, and using a high loft to kind of pop it out of a deep rough or a semi-deep rough here.
Okay.
It kind of just makes it easier if you're able to get through that turf and make sure that ball gets onto the green and gets rolling.
Sure. Let's go one more with the T1 there. And I'm going to give you the T3 and we'll see how it does. Interesting there. Yeah, that still actually popped up nicely. I know you didn't hit that perfect. The rough, I'm giving you not the best lie. I'm kind of shoving that thing down into the grass. But that was good. So what I'm curious now is I'll give you the T3 and how that type of shot might change with a little bit more perimeter weighting, maybe a tad more help on a miss hit per se, or maybe not the cleanest, I guess, strike through the ball.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. I'm excited to see how this one feels and kind of performs through this turf. It is a little bit of a bigger profile, and you definitely notice that going straight from the T1 to the T3.
Oh yeah, that was clean. That might go in actually.
Yeah, these wedges, I just can't get over how soft they feel.
Yeah.
You can really tell that they're different than a lot of other wedges out there. Yeah. And if someone's looking for a soft wedge, the Mizunos are going to be a really good option for that player.
Yeah, I think it's worth something too. They even have their M-Craft putters are also forged, so there's serious success and experience behind their green flow forging process. Like it works, and that's why they're using it for more than just their irons.
Yeah, absolutely.
Their wedges, putters, and we got the testimony here. Like they feel soft.
Try another one here.
Well, that thing flew out of there too.
Yeah, that one came out a little hot, but it was a pretty tough lie there, and I did like the way that the club came through, and I mean it didn't get stuck in the in the rough here, and
that's probably the first number one goal with these, especially if you're that player in this wedge, you're trying to have that result rather than the one that leaves the ball right here. So
it got a little away from me, but we have a 10-foot uphill putt.
Yeah, I know, exactly. Yeah, so that's, again, these shots around the green for a lot of players, especially ones playing this wedge, it's going to be about minimizing the big numbers versus maybe always saving par. And so that's one right there where you're going to get the ball on the green and give yourself a chance to save that par. So yeah, Mizuno Pro wedges. Give me your feedback. Lastly, just your overall takeaway and the T1 and T3, what your thoughts are.
Yeah, well, I think it's really cool that Mizuno has the option now of the more compact T1 and then the T3 for a forgiving option for players that want and need that, but it's not a huge cavity back, so it's nothing egregious, it's nothing massive, it's just a little bit more oversized, flows a little bit nicer with players that have the game improvement or even a player's distance iron that wants a little forgiveness around the green. And then the other key takeaway, like I've mentioned many times now, is that soft feel, and I'm a huge fan of these. Yeah, the green flow forging process, soft feel across the board, and you know, the T1, compact, you know, if you're a really solid ball striker, you feel confident in your short game, hitting the center of the face, T1's gonna be for you, but the T3 also is a great option if you just want a little forgiveness and kind of blend with a game improvement set. So Brady, thanks for coming out here, hitting a few shots and giving us your feedback. I think we can say that these are gonna be very successful in 2025 and beyond. Absolutely, thanks Drew.